Hello, BookTube. I'm back for another edition of Pulp Mondays. Today I have two more pulps to talk about, both science fiction magazines again. And this is a short-lived, well, not that short. It ran from 1940 to 43, called Astonishing Stories. It was started, it was part of the dozens and dozens of pulp magazines that popular publications put out, but they mostly did romance, detective, westerns, and basically, if memory serves, it was Frederick Pohl that sort of talked them into doing a science fiction magazine, and he became the first editor. He was 19, so he was very young when he did this. It's not a top shelf magazine like it had, the competition of a lot of other magazines, and especially Astounding. And another problem with it was that Pohl had a very small budget to run it and hardly paid anything. I forget what it was per word, but it was much lower than everybody else that was paying, including the other magazines by popular publications as well. So Pohl had to become inventive, and he had students do the artwork, a lot of the artwork, and he also for the interior artwork he would reuse bits and he would crop them, as well as adding a big and lengthy letter discussion section, and have uh, a lot more advertising as well to fluff it out. But even so, it was a slim magazine, but it was only 10 cents. Now, as I say, he talked himself into the job, and he kind of talked himself out of it, in a sense. He remembers in his memoir, or he writes in his memoir, the way the future was, that he went in to ask his boss for basically a raise, and when he left, he didn't have a job anymore, and he wasn't sure, and he can't remember whether he quit or he was fired. The editorship was given to another editor that was doing other magazines, but then later, near the end of it, Pohl was rehired as an assistant editor, and he actually made more money. He was paid more as the assistant editor than he did as full editor. And as I say, it's called Astonishing Science Fiction, and here's an issue here from 1940. It's great artwork, but if you really look closely, the facial features and a few details aren't quite as good as other artists. And I do not know who the artist is for this one. Uh, Now, as I say, he put a lot of advertising in this. On the back of the front cover, there's jewelry, watches, and jewelry, and then radio, to learn radio, to become a radio technician, as well. On the back, it's advertising for stoves. It looks like kitchen appliances. And let's look um, at the table of contents here. And this is October 1940. It's volume 2, number 1. And there's an ongoing serial by Malcolm Jameson, who was not a prolific author, but he did write a lot of stuff during the pulp era, but practically forgotten today. And this is Quicksands of Youthwardness, and it's first of 3 parts. See if I can read this. At Athanta planet where age was immortal and youth could not live. Not sure. Never read it. And the novelettes, we've got The Future's Fair by Vincent Reed. Now, Vincent Reed was a pseudonym of ast- a Hungarian Canadian author, and wrote a little bit, but not a whole lot. Um, Again, practically forgotten, I believe. But this is The Future's Fair. They had to lie to prevent panic, but their lie, incredibly, was true. So yeah, they had to. It's hard to read. The lighting's not the greatest here. They had to lie to prevent panic, but their lie, incredibly, was true. Now we've got Flight to Galileo by Lee Greger. Now, I said the editor was Frederick Pohl, and Lee Greger was a pseudonym, one of the many pseudonyms of Frederick Pohl. And this is Byrne Writer was a little man, but a scientist is as big as his biggest discovery. Now, short stories. We've got Mr. Island by E.A. Grosser. I'm not familiar with this author at all. I did have a quick look. I couldn't find anything about him other than he wrote maybe a dozen stories or so. And this is, as I say, Mr. Island. It was an odd sort of island with one very odd inhabitant. And then we've got Stepson of Space by Raymond Z. Galoon. Just a child's meaningless invention, but it worked. Again, an author that you do see him anthologized quite a bit, and there was a best of collection as well. So he was well thought of at the time. Now we've got Ray Cummings, Personality Plus. Butterworth's amnesia machine hadn't failed, but worked too well. Now, Ray Cummings was a stable author, one of his Pohl stable authors here. Pohl was basically in awe of him and couldn't say no. However bad the story was, he bought it and printed it. Ray Cummings was a, I guess you would say, one of the founding fathers or a stalwart of the early science fiction. His big thing is The Girl of the Golden Atom, late teens, early 1920s, I think, when it was fully published as a novel. So but he recycled a lot of his own work. But as I say, Pohl was in awe of him. Now we've got Otherworld by Harl Vincent. And Harl Vincent, again, an author that basically has been forgotten. Yeah, I don't know really much about him. So that's what's in here. But then also we got special features, viewpoints, fantasy reviews, editorial ramblings, and tales to come. So he fluffed it out with his own writing of various things. Now, on the facing page of the table of contents is an ad. I don't understand what it's saying here. It's saying given, and then it's a bike, both given, and then given, nothing to buy. I guess it's free things. You got bicycles, guitars, a rifle, a radio, phonograph, watch, and so forth. I have to be careful because this is the astoundings that I showed were trimmed around the edges. The pulps in general were not trimmed. They had rough edges. The covers overhung on the edges, and this one's a bit fragile at the top. It must have been in the sun at some point. So let's go through here. So you got the viewpoints. And then we have this Atlas Shrug, or not Atlas Shrug. Charles Atlas. This is Atlas. The ubiquitous Atlas strongman ads in that proliferate science fiction magazines. Now we've got the Malcolm Jameson story here with artwork, splashed out actually with quite a bit of artwork, but there it is, and it's not bad. As I say, there's not a whole lot of interior artwork. There's another one, but that I think I've seen, or he's cut it down from other art, larger bits. And then we got Vincent Reed here, The Future's Fair. And the usual. Oh, that was kind of nice. E. Thorpe. This is signed by. And ubiquitous, well, kind of ubiquitous, but let's just say lots of classified advertising, help wanted, male and female help wanted, patent attorneys, photo finishing, poems, songwriters wanted. There's a couple ads for that, and an Underwood typewriter ad. I think we saw that in one of the astoundings. Then we've got, what do we got here? Old Mr. Bonson apricot nectar. Lots of cartoons to sell items. False teeth, music lessons, make more money, get your body out of the dumps, stimulate digestion, build up vitality. So false teeth you can buy here. So yeah, so that is October 1940 Astonishing Stories. Now we move on to the next one, which is November 1941. And there's the cover right there. And it is dark. The pictures are dark to begin with, and it's a bit darker here as well. On the inside front cover, we've got Charles Atlas again on the inside front cover. Facing that is Good Job in Radio, another radio technician, but done differently. On the back, what do we have here? An adding machine. Mathematics made easy. There we go. Okay, now we've got novelettes. We've got Wings of the Lightning Land by James MacCraig. Now that's another pseudonym of, you guessed it, Frederick Pohl. And it's a novelette. Fugitives from space happen on a nameless hostile planet from which no man returned. Two dauntless souls challenge the terrors of the unknown to shape for themselves an amazing destiny. I do apologize for the bad reading, but I'm sort of trying to guess what the words are. They're small and it's not that bright. And then we got Ross Rocklin. That story was called Wings of the Lightning Land. Then we got Ross Rocklin, Daughter of Darkness. We had him last time too, I think. The spoiler of the heavens was the wanton and destruction. This brooding creature of immeasurable strength who, sorry, I can't continue. I can't even see half of it. Short stories, Retreat to the Stars by Lee Brackett. Now we've got The Man Who Didn't Breathe by Harry Walton. Now, Harry Walton was um, not he was anthologized. I know he's in some anthologies that I've got, but again, it's basically an unknown writer. And My Lady of the Emerald by Wilfred Owen Morley. Now that is a pseudonym of uh, get his name correct here, Robert A.W. Landis, who was an editor, but also a member of the Futurians. Now, I would guess by this pseudonym, he must have liked the World War One poet Wilfred Owen, um, and then just called Wilfred Owen Morley. And that's My Lady of the Emerald. The Last Drop by L. Sprague de Camp and L. Ron Hubbard. Now, L. Sprague de Camp was a very prolific author, wrote nonfiction, sort of historical bits too, engineering. Ancient Engineers, I think, was one of his titles. I think that was him, or is that Robert Silverberg? Can't remember now, but L. Ron Hubbard, well, his pulp writing isn't that bad in comparison. Um, then we've got another Ray Cummings called Machines of Destiny. And I love the artwork that was done for Ever Ready batteries. I really, really like the artwork that was done for these. They did little stories, for how you could use or how you need an Ever Ready battery. But I just love the artwork. So we got Viewpoints again. As I say, he would have a big discussion section, and then we got another full page ad for typewriter. Get into electricity, be an electrician. So a full page ad there. Then we got Rocking Chair Blended Risky, Mr. Boston. There we go. And artwork for Wings of the Lightning Land by Frederick Pohl. Now we got Gillette razors, lots of razor ads in these early pulps. Not early pulps, but in the pulp magazines. And there's another one. Another ad for razors, and the usual classified ads. But here's for Ross Rockland's Daughter of Darkness. Some really cool 2-page artwork there. And we've got advertising, Detective Magazine, New Detective. Let's see what we got here. Machinist, False Teeth again, itching, get relief from itching, and ads. And that is home study for various subjects. And what do we got here? Takes a brain to earn money. Train brain. The man without training is usually the man without cash. You could train your brain. Thousands of men have done it through spare time study of LCS courses. Be a cash man. Be a trained man. Mail this coupon. And then the same sort of ad we had, or similar, for jewelry as well. So there you go. That is 2 more pulps. And I'll be back next week with another 2. And at some point, I'll get into a flow of this, hopefully, and maybe do a little more research on some of the authors. But I'm just finding it difficult even to read stuff, even that little bit, and then trying to write it down. I'm trying to rely on previous memory, but I'm going to run into a lot of authors that are very, very I can't think of the word, that they didn't write much at all. And there may be authors that I just don't even know, and I'm sure there's going to be lots. Anyway, thank you, BookTube. I'll see you next time.